Good morning. We are starting a new build today, and we brought in the big guns. We've got Casey Liddell from Cascade Heavy Wrecker. His dad's here, Monty. Tom, of course. Can't forget Ed. And the rest of the regular crew is here. All right, so the project we're working on is a heavy wrecker. I need a vehicle that's big enough to do the pusher RVs and stuff that get in the sand, but I also want something that can get back on the trails and do winching and, I don't know, wrecker stuff. In this particular video, we are going to be building the frame from scratch and setting these axles under it. We want a roller by the time this video's over. Yeah, you're stuck.
Kind of.
217 3/4. 217 3/4 on the nose.
Wow.
Dang. I don't think we've ever pulled the tape the whole way. We just cut all the pieces and then welded it together.
All those random lengths evened out, and it came to exactly the same thing.
Oh, wow. We spent some time and we got the frame square, and now we're just gonna start welding it together. 99% of the work I do is easily handled by the banana. Of that 99% of that work is easily handled by the MORR. Mostly what we get is rental cars a few feet into the sand or the mud or the snow or the rocks, and we just go there with the banana or the MORR and just pull them out. It's quite simple. However, sometimes we get bigger vehicles. You have an RV in the sand, a big pusher motorhome, or a bus even. We've got on jobs where we've had to drag our 12-ton wrecker into the sand. We usually end up using 2 or 3 Jeeps plus the wrecker, and it's just a hoopla. Is that how you do? It's a lot of hoopla. So when I first started thinking of a heavy wrecker, my mind automatically went to like a 1.5 or a 5-ton. There's also the military wreckers, there's different styles. The problem with those is, yeah, they've got the big tires and they're heavy and they're 6-wheel drive, but they are effectively as off-road capable as a cement mixer. And you don't look at those and go, wow, those are really good at trails. Because they're not. My definition of an off-road wrecker is something that can get out on the trails where the Jeeps and the Toyotas and the buggies and the side-by-sides are. So I needed a wrecker that wasn't just a one-trick pony. The problem with the 5 tons and the 2.5s, they're really good at pulling RVs out of sand or mud or snow on very level ground, but not on trails. Off-road to me is off-road, like where an overlander can't get to. Overlanders know they're not good at trails. That's why they flop on their sides all the time.
Okay.
They know that. You guys know it. You know. Overlanders, you know. So here is the problem. I need a vehicle that can pull out RVs out of the sand, whether it's with kinetic energy or with a winch. So I need a heavy vehicle, but I need something that can go out on the trails and get the Jeeps that break off a wheel or break an axle. Toyotas too, not gonna leave you guys out. You guys are breaking stuff all the time. Overlanders.
Johnny boy.
So up until now, what we have to do, we've gone out there with a car hood to ski a Jeep with a broken wheel out. We've drug our trailers into places that they shouldn't go so that we can load the broken vehicle onto the trailer and then try to get the trailer out of there. That's got to stop. And this is where it stops, is with this heavy wrecker. Because it's so long and heavy, it needs 2 things to counteract that. It needs 4-wheel steering for it to counteract its length, and it needs really big tires. So this is gonna have 54-inch tires, off-road specific, sand-friendly tires. But Matt, it's too big to go in the sand. You said yourself that lightweight is everything, and you're making this thing 12 or 13,000 pounds. That is correct. But pounds per square inch on the ground is what's important. Now this is never going to be a dune runner. We're not gonna be climbing Comp Hill with it or anything like that. But I will be able to cross the dunes very handily on paper. We're going to be testing it, and we will find out. I want this to do sand, mud, rocks, snow, super tight trails, and great big RVs. That's a pretty tall order. You're going to watch us build this. You're going to watch it work. But when we get this done, we are going to be testing it on 777s. We're going to do that trail unassisted and without a winch in this rig, and it's going to be amazing. Let's talk about the heavy wrecker build. So this is some big news. We got our 54-inch Mickey Thompson Baja Pros. We were looking all over the United States for a set of these, and Tommy at Off the Grid Motorsports in Canton, Ohio was able to find us a set. We got 5 of these bad boys. We're waiting on wheels to get them mounted up, but these look amazing. I don't even know if you know how excited I am. 54-inch tires. These are amazing. Thank you, Tommy. So in case you're wondering, this is a DOT tire. That means we can drive it on the road. We've got the links tacked in place. We've got the basic frame structure built. We've got the axles mounted with the links. Another thing we've been working on is what kind of a cab we're putting on this. For years, I've always imagined this as a cab over, like a cab forward design. We've been thinking about it. We've been driving some cab forward vehicles, and we've decided that the level of how we're gonna be using this and where we're gonna be taking it, the cab forward is actually gonna limit its capabilities. So we're gonna go with a cab in a more conventional location. So to kind of give you an idea of the layout here, the engine is going to be right here. But Matt, that's a garbage can. That's not an engine. I know, it's a garbage can. LS engine. That should help. And then directly behind that is going to be transmission. If I spell this wrong, my teacher's fault. Right back here, we're gonna have the transfer case. That's the basic drivetrain. Hey Ed, how's it going?
Good.
We're telling these good people where we're putting the stuff in this frame.
I wondered what the front end and the rear end was.
So then from here to here, it's gonna be a drive shaft, and then we're gonna have one go up front. We've done a lot of work figuring out what's gonna fit and what's not. This is not the right transfer case. We're actually gonna be running a Midnight Metalworks case with a doubler. It's gonna be amazing. We're gonna have all kinds of gear ratios. We are running a gasoline engine. Sorry to you diesel guys, but there are so many reasons why we're not gonna be running a diesel. We really care about off-road recovery and our capabilities, and there's a couple of boxes that a diesel engine won't check.
So that's the transmission? The motor will be here? Really?
So the drivetrain's down low. This keeps our center of gravity really low, like axle level. This thing's gonna be able to drive on its side without flipping over. So where does the cab go since we're not doing an FC? I'll show you. Cab goes right here. Oh, you surprised me. I didn't see you there. Welcome to another day of working in the shop. Let me tell you what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be taking the world's largest off-road wrecker frame. We're gonna be adding a dump truck to it using a forklift, and then we're gonna end up with at least the shape of the world's largest off-road wrecker. So the first thing we've gotta do is I wanna get this at ride height, sitting on its own suspension, its own temporary suspension. Everything about this wrecker is heavy duty. So let me show you what's going on here. So that's where this goes. There's gonna be a big coil spring that goes right here in this pocket. And then the shock is gonna come in here. Holly's gonna help. She needs the lift tomorrow. She can't have the lift unless this is rolling, and this can't be rolling unless we get this done. That's the bottom of the spring pocket right there. It's gonna be something like that. There's no weight on it, so it's gonna be really tall. Not quite there yet. Oh, maybe we might be.
Right there.
Let's get that angle finder. Oh, we're there. The level of precision we're looking for has been met. All right, we are ready to put the bottom bucket on now. All right, it's official. We are gonna see what this looks like sitting on its own springs for the first time ever.
Just a little bit. How are you feeling about it?
Good.
That was our goal.
Next step, roll her on out. I've got a working model of the concept that I've had in my mind for quite a while, and I'm super excited. I think this looks really incredible. Hopefully you can see the same thing that I've been seeing in this. Something that was just pointed out to me today, I've never taken the time to notice. This used to be a Clark County Fire Department truck, so I'm imagining it was some kind of a brush truck or something like that. But it's kind of cool. In its past life, it was a rescue, like an emergency rescue vehicle.
So it's reincarnated as yet another
emergency rescue vehicle. So I'm super stoked about that. So as you can see, we've just kind of got it set here. It's not the right height. I think it's about the right farther forward, but you can see that these panels are just setting there because that's what we did. We just set them there. So hopefully this will give you a vision of what I see and you'll be excited too. We're going to be doing the rear suspension. We got all the plates in for those. So we're going to weld those up and we are just going to get after it.
That's not too bad for my first time ever doing a circular thing like that.
I'm happy with it. Let's put some spring pockets on there. All right. Oh man. Okay, I need everybody to get on this because I want to squat this down to the correct ride height. The hell? Not much. See, these springs are heavy duty. I'm still at 8.25 now.
Oh, with you on there, we might get that quarter.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. So this is 1,100 pounds.
Did you put you on there?
Yeah. So the springs are going to be really close to where we need them. Nice. So several of you have suggested that we make this wrecker rear steer, and that's a super good idea. So we did. It's always been rear steer. We don't have the hydraulic ramps to run it, but as you can see, we have rear steering. Because it's got such a long wheelbase, 156 inches, it has to rear steer to be able to do the trails and get out where the people are getting their side-by-sides and their Jeeps and stuff. So, yeah, it's a rear steer buggy. In other news, Jesse Wetton did some digging on the internet and he found pictures of this old girl back when she was in service at the Clark County Fire Department. So from the looks of the pictures, this is the same truck. It also looks like it was a fuel truck. We don't know too much more about it. We're gonna do some more digging and see if we can verify that this actually is the truck. And we're gonna find out more about its duties back when it was a fire truck. Possibly a fuel fire truck. Probably a fuel fire truck. Good morning. It is a new day and we're here in the shop, but not for long because we're headed back up to northern Utah to pick up a Suburban that Johnny Boy bought. So the whole reason I went up to Gumby's junkyard in the first place was to try to find a motor for this wrecker. Well, on the way home last night, Johnny Boy called me and he said, hey, there is a Suburban with an 8.1 in it for sale right in his town. And he went over and looked at it, said it was worth buying. So long story short, Johnny Boy ended up buying it. Now we're going up to grab it. We're gonna pull the motor out of it and we're gonna stick it in this wrecker.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
There it is. The whole thing's made out of metal and plastic. Yep.
She's a beaut, Clark.
All right, thank you, Johnny, for helping me find this, for going and calling the guy, test driving it, doing all that stuff.
Yep.
So the plan is to get it loaded up on the trailer, drive all the way back to Hurricane. Tomorrow morning, Trevor's gonna pull this motor and we're gonna drop it in the frame of the wrecker. That's what's gonna happen next. All right, so we've gotta get into the shop. We've gotta get the wrecker out. We've gotta get the Suburban in, and then Trevor's gonna pull the motor. Good morning. It is another day of working on the wrecker. We have got a lot to do today. We're going to be shuffling this stuff like a deck of cards. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to push this frame chassis deal outside, pull the motor with the forklift, push the frame back in here, marry the body back to the frame, kick the frame out there in the yard. Then we've got to push the heavy wrecker in here. We've got to lift the body off with the lift, and then we've got to push the frame back outside, set this motor into it, push it back in here. Then we're going to set the cab back down on it and just see where we have to cut and trim, see how it's going to fit. We're going to look at it.
I can't push it out of the way.
Tell me what we're setting on.
You're all right on my side. The exhaust over here, and then the transmission now.
I'm gonna have to look at it. Holy crap. This is gonna work. My stupid idea is gonna work.
Wow, man, too flexible.
For all of you that don't have a claw hammer in your mechanic fabrication shop, I'm telling you, it will cut your work by 50%.
Alright. Now.
Now let's look inside and see if it's even possible to get the engine 10 inches further in there. Yes.
Yes?
All right, this is looking really good. The cab's about where we want it. I actually wanted a little farther forward, I think, but we're gonna have to cut some stuff out to do that. We'll get that later. All right, it is another day of working in the shop. We are gonna be working on the off-road wrecker today. We've got a couple things that we need to do. We've got motor mounts, because we're gonna mount the motor in solid, and then we're gonna put the cab mounts on it to mount the cab in solid. So that is the plan right now. I think I kinda got it figured out what I want to do. These are gonna go up in here, and we're gonna weld them. Weld them to the plate, weld them to the other plate, weld the plate to the tow truck, which is sitting on planet Earth.
Matt, you got your PPE on.
I don't know how people wear these. How dangerous is it to not be able to see because of fog? All right. Okay, Lizzie, weld around this side first, and then weld around this side in 2 swoops. 2 swoops. Down we go. Like that? Oh man, that looks good. It's level enough for the kind of work we're doing. It's 1/10 of 1 degree off, which is level in my book. All right. Now that we're happy with the frame, we've got to be happy with the cab in crookedness, elevation, and yaw. We're at 0.1. We're exactly on. Maybe that's consistent. Okay. We're exactly right on right here. Lizzie's getting good at welding. She's been putting the time in and it's showing. Looks good. This will add the structure back that it originally had. So we're going to be putting center dump headers out here outside the frame. So everything's out of the way. I'm super happy. Exhaust pipe will run right here. So we're gonna be putting rock sliders on this to protect it. This is gonna be quite a bit heavier than what we're used to running in the sand, but it's gonna have significantly larger tires. And I think it's gonna go through the dunes really good. But it's gonna have a lot of square inches on the ground. We wanna be in the 8 pounds per square inch or less range. So we'll just see. got the grill in place, we got the bonnet. We're gonna call it a bonnet, kind of like they do in other parts of the country, because it's not really a hood, it's more of a bonnet. Anyway, it's kind of rough fit. We've got to do some adjustments. We've got to raise the cab up like about a ½ an inch to get these body lines perfect. So we're gonna be working on that. Lizzie and Skeeter got this front end kind of chopped down. This is where the winch is gonna go. That's why it's sticking out. It is gonna be behind the tires. I'm super happy. Hopefully you can see like what's going on with this. Now we're gonna push it outside, and I just wanna see what it looks like flexed out. That's really what we wanna see. That's pretty cool looking. Good morning. It is another day of working on the wrecker. I've actually been working on a little bit behind your back, so I'm going to tell you what I did so that we bring some trust back into this relationship. I'm working on a system that I hope does adequate amount of cooling. This is the system as it stands right now. I have a radiator right here. This is the secondary radiator. It's gonna be in series. This one gets its juice second. There's gonna be another radiator right here. I can show you that actually. Cool. Hot water comes out of the engine, goes into this tank, circulates back out into the pump. I know I'm gonna have some thermal losses in this tank, but since the thermostat's cold, I'm not introducing any new cold water into the system, so we'll still have fast warm up. Once the thermostat opens, this is the bung that goes out and goes into the pump, the cold side of the pump. The cooled water from this radiator is gonna be shooting in right here, shooting straight across into the pump. The pump will get cooled water. The hot water that comes out of here is going to go into the bottom here, and most of it is gonna go through and get cooled. So we are adding a percentage of cooling back into the system without losing, with probably maintaining at least 60% of our warm-up function and 100% of our cycle of water past the thermostat so that it can open. Because if you block that, this thermostat will never see hot water, never open, you'll ruin your motor. We've thought about it, and this is what we've come up with. Will it work? Theoretically. Is it gonna fail because we haven't thought about it?
It's not gonna fail.
It's not gonna fail. There, you heard it here first, folks. It's not gonna fail.
Hot out there. We're gonna get up to about 104. Clear sky, no wind. Thanks for watching.
I want to see down in there. That's what I want to see.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's got an active bypass.
Look at it.
Oh no!
Changes all your theories.
All my engineering was for nothing. This has an active bypass like an LS, and probably every other modern engine since like the late 90s.
So it seals up here and down here.
Yeah, so what happens is when this is closed, the bottom one's open, and when this one opens up to cool it, it closes the bottom one, the recirc. So that whole recirculation circuit that we built,
we don't really need.
Literally for nothing. What does this mean?
We need to pressure test everything still. Okay, we should have taken that off earlier. He would have got way more sleep. There's a couple of nights where he stayed up all night thinking out this cooling system.
This is a massive bummer. So as this opens, this moves down and plugs this hole in the bottom, and that's the recirculation. So yeah, I mean, how many times can I say it? Okay, hopefully when those guys get back, we'll have everything we need to pressure test this. All right, for this hose, we're gonna be using this, and I know some of you have had some bad experience with this. Others of you have had good experience, and probably most of you have never seen it. So it's what we're using. If it doesn't end up working, we'll change it. All right, so the boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. That's what I was looking for. They brought us our stuff. We're gonna pressure test it. Yeah, but ever since the old thermostat debacle, I've been feeling pretty blue.
See if the cap fits, you can celebrate.
Let me look at that.
Is it a stand?
This is a standard. Do not open hot.
Matt's gonna ignore that. Tell me what to do, Cap.
He needs to sing a Jeep shanty. No, cheer him up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody now. There once was a Jeep from Southern New. The name of the Jeep was Bean and New. His heart was gold and his paint was true. We'll get you safely home. Hey! Where does the little Jeep go? Run and walk and run and run. Cut that all out. We'll do it for real when we're not building a car.
We got in a box over there.
Uh-oh.
Get some air coming out.
Oh! She's up!
She just wanted to do it without the clamp. Not couldn't wait. I had to do it right away.
Skeeter,
Dude.
I kept stopping so Skeeter could move because he'd be like, oh. And then he'd just stop and look at it again.
Oh, we're
Cap is venting.
Okay, we're at 16 pounds.
we're there.
Probably more than 16 because I think it's
Yeah, I would say don't exceed it. Yeah, because that's gonna be pretty easy to exceed.
We're using Matt's toothbrush.
He better be sure and put it back when he's done.
I use the term loosely because he also uses it for his beard.
I get this one down there. Oh, I see a leak down there. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I see a leak.
Oh.
I'm telling you, if there's a leak, this toothbrush will find it. We're making ourselves a tester.
What do you think?
Okay, now do this one. I can't believe you fixed it on your second try. I got this side. While I'm working on one thing, like today we were really focused on the cooling and the winches, but while I'm thinking about that and focus on that, I also have to remember other things because we've got to order parts so that we can keep working, and I got to order parts that will work. I can't just call them up and say, hey, do you have a gas tank for the world's largest off-road recovery wrecker? And they're like, yes, we do. It's part number 35. Like, we haven't sold one in years. But anyway, we do have a gas tank now. It's a cube. And this, I got looking at it, I can build a pretty tall toolbox and still be able to, you know, I can open this up and peer inside and see that, like, dang it, we left the tools we needed at the shop. Foreshadowing. All right, first of all, I'd like to scare everybody else in the world. Ooh, Imperial fractions.
That only scares half-inch Harry.
I'm going to be using it to point, so get used to that. Okay, guys, I need this cut out. If you want to square this up really nice, you can. These are just approximate, but that's about where I need it. Then you're going to be cutting this circle out. We're going to be building a box on the outside of this that sticks down like 2 inches for a sump. So that's why that doesn't have to be perfect. It just...
What's the purpose of the sump for? No running out of fuel?
Yeah, what's the purpose of the sump? So this wrecker is going to be very dependent on the engine running to steer it and for brakes, and I don't want running out of fuel on crazy inclines to be the reason the motor stops. Engine for those of you in Rio Linda. So we had these brackets cut out by Flog back when I was doing something very different. Now they're just scrap metal, but I've kept them around because they're cut and they're a unique shape, and they're actually gonna work for what we're doing right now. So these will be on the inside here, but they're gonna go right there and bolt on right there, and they're gonna go on their back behind here. So I will be bolting this on. There'll be 4 bolts that hold this on. Nothing's gonna attach to this, so when it comes time to work on this, we can take the bonnet off, take the grill off. It will look like this, you know, when we need to do any service on the engine or anything like that. So a few of you have noticed that I'm very practical and I like function, but I also like old iron. So I'm willing to put up with some struggles for a cool old truck cab or a Corvair body rather than something more modern and, well, more functional. So please enjoy this with me because I really do enjoy trying to figure this stuff out. So this should give us a really neat, fast way to take the grill off and on. Okay, gently tighten that one up. Okay, put your hood on and your gloves and start tacking that. This really is quick and sloppy. Well, we got the cab installed and we got the grill installed. And we got the butterfly bonnet installed. My hood don't jiggle jiggle, it folds.
Oh no.
Okay, we got that little project finished. How's it feel? Solid. So we got these baffles bent up, and the way they're gonna work, they're gonna go in here and then we get plug welded. And then we can reach in the hole from the bottom and weld them. We'll have Lizzie do that. I just hanging this here. It's not really gonna go there, but just hanging there to show you. This is the next piece that goes on there. We'll do all 4 sides. The fuel actually gets into the sump through a small hole here. That's already engineered into the tank. I like the way it is and I'm not gonna change it. All we're doing is stopping the rogue waves from bashing the sending unit and the pump system to pieces. Once the fuel gets below this level, all the fuel comes in this hole right here. And it has to go through that cinnamon roll, and then it'll drop down into the sump. The return also dumps in the sump, so every bit of gas that goes in there stays in. It never gets ejected out of there. But if you're getting so low that the fuel is now not splashing over this, you're in bad shape, especially on something that's gonna get like 5 miles to the gallon. We here at Matt's Off-Road Recovery take running out of gas seriously, seriously. Come here, I gotta show you something neat. So we had a gentleman come and visit us. His name's Donald Mayfield, and he brought us these hooks. And he's a firefighter, and these hooks have a long history of being on fire engines. So whatever truck these originally came on, they kept taking them off and putting them on every truck. Now they're using new trucks where bolting these on the bumpers, just there's no place for these anymore. So he was kind of sad he wasn't able to use them anymore, and he wanted them to go to a rescue vehicle. And here's where they're going. I kind of like this kind of stuff, like stuff that has a little history. And I mean, this truck's had at least 3 lives because it looks like it was a military truck. I have no idea. I have nothing to back it up except for that it was painted this olive military green. Its second life was as a fire rescue truck, and it looked like it was a fueling truck to go out in the field and fuel other trucks up. And now it's going to be a recovery rescue tow truck. And we've had another little bit of history coming together here. We're going to wear these with pride. So we're going to mount these up because number 1, they look super cool. Number 2, they are super cool. I would consider this a light duty recovery point. I don't know exactly what they're rated for. I do know they're really old. If you have the winch line ran out and you need to move position but you don't want to run it all the way in, you just loop it around there. Same with the recovery rope. You can just hook it up there, move position. Yeah, it's going to be super cool. Our actual functional recovery points, I'm going to put the bolt-on pindle hitches here. Pintle hitches. If you type in pindle or pintle, the same thing comes up. But anyway, I'm going to bolt them up right here, and each one of those is going to be a 60,000 pound recovery point. We're going to have them on the front, we're going to have them on the back. This thing's going to have recovery points poking out all over. So anyway, thank you, Donald, so much for bringing these by. We are going to put them to good use. How's that looking?
I think I just need to get the inside out.
Yeah, just spend some time doing some detail spot cleaning. We've had Rhett cleaning this throttle body up. So the throttle body that these come with is a drive-by-wire, and we don't want that for all the reasons. This one is a drive-by cable, which is what we want. So we're just going to be changing it. This is off of a 5.3. It's actually the same size as the one that these come off from. At least I was told they were, but I believe they are. But they're 3 bolts right up, no modification. Bada bing, bada bang. So the next step is going to be to get this mounted in the tank and kind of see where we want the tank on the wrecker. This is definitely experimental. At least it's nothing important like, I don't know, flammable liquid. You happy with that? So what we're building here is the foundation for our roll bar. The roll cage, the fuel tank, the toolboxes, and it's gonna tie into the rock sliders, and it's gonna tie the whole frame together. We don't want any flex in this frame. It's gonna be very rigid. I'm counting on this to... I'm doing exactly the same thing. Okay, go ahead and put a little tack right in the middle. So I'm thinking tack, 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 and then break these tacks and build it and then set it back up. You like that? Okay. Should we do Square. Trevor, come look at this.
Yeah, leave it like that.
I think I want to do some gusset stuff, like this kind of stuff on it too. We'll have Flog build us some stuff for it, like a three-way diamond piece or T or something. A diamond piece here, and there'll be holes in it. Put some rivets in it. All right, good morning. We are back on the wrecker again. We are going to be working on rock sliders and kind of integrating some pieces together. It's kind of difficult to build something that doesn't exist because we don't even have plans. And actually, we do have some plans, but we didn't follow them, which is the honest truth. Thank you, Tom, for the plans so that we could figure out where we were going to diverge from them. So yeah, we're just going to be working on that. It's going to be a little bit of a process, but we've got to get the rock sliders, the roll bar, the winches, the toolbox, and the gas tank to all play nice with each other. And it's got to look cool, because that was what I should have led with. It's got to look cool, and all these other things have to work together. Okay. I know that there's mathematical equations. I know that my middle school geometry teacher would be very, very disappointed in me right now. And I know that in my line of work and my line of hobbies, I should know how to do this, but I don't. So I'm analog, figuring out the angles, tracing them with cardboard, setting that cardboard on the saw, setting up the angle, and cutting them to build the part. I know there's a better way. I know.
But that's the way we're doing it.
This is how we're doing it. So those of you that know what we're doing are just going to have to struggle through it, because that's what I'm going to do. So 8 inches is right there. We're supposed to be 18 inches. Oh man, I was close. Boy, that's a lot of marks we got to remember. And now we got to go 24 inches out, and we got to be 18 and 18. I'm not as happy with this.
It's a good thing we got a lot of concrete.
And transfer. Okay. I've only got a couple more tries till it's too short, Skeeter. So I'm just gonna give you this piece right here. I need 2 of those, and you're gonna have to flip them over so that the seam is always down.
Moment of truth.
Something like that. We quickly whipped these up. This is going against the cab. So these are just gussets for strength, and I think they look cool, which we haven't established whether that's the most important thing right now or whether it makes it stronger. We're going to be welding these on, then we're going to be popping it back up there, welding it down tight, and then start building structure off from it.
Oh, yeah.
Most of that without a tape, a level, or safety glasses. All right, so Rhett got this all welded up. It looks amazing. So now we're gonna put Lizzie back on the welder. Rhett's gonna be doing other things. I'm gonna be imagining. Skeeter's gonna be fitting. Lizzie's gonna be tacking and welded. Trevor's gonna float around like a butterfly.
That's the Imagineer.
We're gonna be working on the toolboxes, and yeah, let's just do the toolboxes next. We don't have the plates to mount the winch yet. In fact, I think those just got ordered today. So we're just gonna have to sit this on a piece of scrap metal. I can show you where it's going. So the winch is gonna be right there. The winch plate's gonna be in here, or the fair lead plate. It's gonna look amazing. You'll have to just imagine it for now, because I'm not even gonna describe it. So these are the toolboxes we're gonna be using. I was gonna fabricate them myself, and then I kind of got over that. That's where the toolbox. Come look at this.
Awesome.
I need to get a measurement here. People make fun of the way I say measure. They're like, measure or measure. Yeah. Okay, Lizzie. I think that's where we want to be, right there. Nice. Perfection. It just needs to look level. So we're gonna come about there.
Is this where a Rotopax is going? Is right there?
Yeah.
For extra gas.
Yeah, there's gonna be some rack stuff here. It's gonna be awesome. I'm basically stealing every single idea Rory's ever had.
I completely agree.
Thanks, Rory. Good morning. It is another day of working on the wrecker. Lizzie's gonna tell you what she's been working on this morning.
We've been working on the basic frame so we can get the floor in here and fix all that stuff. So that's what we're doing today.
What have you been working on, Skeeter?
Infrastructure.
These are the plug wells that go in for that. We're gonna be doing some stuff out there to make it look nice. Some people say it's dangerous to crawl around on stuff like this. This is what they made us play on in recess when I was in elementary school. We had a jungle gym that was probably, I don't know, 20 feet high. If you started falling at the top of that, it was like Plinko till you made it to the bottom. Awesome. Lizzie's got that all done. Now we're just finishing a couple of trim pieces on the back and she's gonna get right into that. Skeeter's making some parts. What did you make over here? All right, that goes on the outside. Show us where that goes. Oh, look at that.
Infrastructural.
Okay, we're gonna get after that. Back in there. What is the grab hold of it? There we go. Back. What an ordeal. Finally got it in there. I didn't count them, but I'm estimating there to be 500 bolts.
There's not 500. There's probably what, like 20?
I exaggerated. There's 400 bolts. This is the winch that's gonna run the boom. So there's gonna be a sheave right here. There's gonna be one up on the boom. That way we'll have like from the winch to a sheave, to the boom. That's gonna be quite a bit of power multiplication. And hopefully we won't rip this right out of there because we put so many bolts in it. This is the bottom of the boom right here. We just gotta get that welded on and attached properly. And we'll just go from there. Now I'm just gonna bomb these mounts on. It looks like we got these within a 30-second of each other, which is good enough for me.
We need Rat to come eyeball this thing. He'd get it right first time.
We've got to get this up where we can weld it on this table. Hot. Okay. Okay. Just hang it out over the back.
Right there. And then press your belly right against it.
That's hot. We've probably changed some things. All right. How does that look? Balanced?
Oh yeah, much more balanced now.
Oh, this thing looks like it's gonna be vicious. So we got a call from the powder coaters today. Our wheels are done. We're gonna mount the tires up on them. We're gonna get them on here and show you what this is really gonna look like with the 54-inch tires.
What do you think, Ed? Big. Luckily we don't have to pry them on.
These are the bolts that bolt the two halves of the wheel together. So you just push them through here. They are not an interference fit. They don't get pressed in. They're actually held in place with cotter pins. You take this little cotter pin.
Welcome back.
Slide it right to there. There you go.
One down, 99 to go.
This is a lot of work. I feel like somebody on a rowing team would be good at this. I think 10 pounds is the right starting point. Seems like it. Go get me 10 of those lug nuts out there and be careful with them, they're still kind of soft. All right, we are on. Get it prepared to roll outside. Something that's interesting about this wrecker is when we bought the kit off from Amazon to build this wrecker, it came incomplete. There's a lot of stuff we've got to build on this, and we're gonna do that starting right now. Show you what I'm thinking here for the boom. It's gonna be a twin line boom. It's gonna have 2 winches actually mounted on the boom that go up. Right now I'm thinking synthetic line. So I'm gonna have my machinist chuck this up in his lathe and build me a fair lead for the top of the boom right here. But that's for another day. All right, let's do this. It passed the drop test. I'm super happy with the way this is looking, the way it's turning out. Somebody gave us this gigantic hook. We decided to hang it here, Skeeter's idea, and that keeps us from walking into these sharp corners. All right, we finally figured out what we were gonna be working on, and it's this. We're gonna be mounting these side winches. So these have a slight offset to them. You probably don't care about it. They just need to fit. That's what we're gonna make them do. All right, so that's tacked in there. So now we've just got to center the winch, put it where it goes, tack it in, then we'll take the winch out and finish welding everything up. We'll do that on both sides. I had Skeeter cut these up for me because we're going to be installing these right here. So that's just a little stiffener for this winch plate. So between the winch and these, going to be a sturdy platform. So we got the winch plates mounted for the side pullers both sides, the fair lead plates on. That's all we got for today, but we'll be back tomorrow like this. We're back. And look who's here. Lizzie had her wisdom teeth pulled. If Lizzie's a little off today, it's because she doesn't feel good. We are still welding on this thing. We are still welding steel on this thing. All right. It doesn't have to be level, it just has to look level. For those of you that don't know, I need it again, Lizzie. I just did a bad thing. Sorry. There's a lot to figure out. This boom, we've kind of designed it on the floor and we're just cut pieces out and welded it together. We've got to figure out how the rest of the pieces go on so they work and they look good and it works good and it looks good. All right, we're back. So we are still working on the boom here. We've got these parts from Flog welded on and we've got these parts that we're gonna weld on. Look at that, back from the machine shop. We got Trevor working today. He's going to be figuring out how we're going to get gas in the gas tank.
Believe it or not, this is the fuel filler.
Yeah. Got Lizzie here to do some welding. Skeeter, I'm surprised you don't got a grinder in your hand.
I got 3 or 4 of them right there, ready to go.
All right. We got a lot to do. We got skid plates to put on. I'm gonna try to get this working today. That's my goal. So,
Ooh, that'll be fun.
yeah, we're gonna pick you guys up and down. All right, we're gonna start getting these set up and get them pointed the right direction. So the way these work, these are replaceable, consumable if we get grooves in them. If they wear out too fast, I'm gonna have these made in stainless steel, but right now we're starting with aluminum. But you can see we've made these holes too wide, and then we made these cool things that go on there. So we'll be able to adjust these so that they're pointed right at the winch, right at the center of the drum. And then the winches are clockable left and right too. So we should be able to get it all aligned pretty good, then tacked into place. That's the goal. That's what we're gonna try to do. Lizzie, let's do this. All right, let's put the pipes in them.
You should just clear coat those.
We are. Hefe, rifleman. I'd like you to look through those and see if they're sighted in.
They're sighted in, huh?
Yeah.
The eye never lies.
Looks dead center to me on that one. And on that one.
Does it? Yeah. Lizzie, you go jump on that side, I'll jump on this side.
Okay, so I got the holes drilled, the pipes in place. Lizzie welded them up, and here it is. Tubes on, fuel comes in here, goes into the tank. Venti fumes go out here into this little thing Matt made. You'll see more of that in the future, and Matt will explain it better. But for now, that's what we got.
I'm gonna get this tacked on, and then Lizzie's gonna get it welded on. So basically, we don't care if it's straight or not. We just care if it looks straight. We're gonna let Lizzie finish this.
Why didn't we just drill these all the way through? Because then it would weld to this.
I think you did it backwards.
I think so too. I tried to verify with you, but I wasn't for sure.
Oopsie.
Did Lizzie just go in there to show Matt my shame?
Oh
Did you build it backwards on purpose?
No.
It was a practice run.
Good job, Brad. Oh, that's too far. It's alright, you can hammer it open.
It is too far.
Your bend ended up right where the rivet's at, which is actually kind of cool.
All done. Okay, now you can come slam this and bend it. You're not musical.
That does sound cool, huh?
All right, look at this. You guys did a good job. Man, that's pretty, Lizzie.
Thanks.
The crown jewel of the boom.
I even did this overhead welding, and I'm very surprised of how it turned out.
You did this too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did all of those.
Yeah, that looks super good. All right, how heavy is this?
Lift it.
Holy smokes!
I want to see if I can lift it. I won't be able to lift it that high, but
She's at a good level underneath it. She's pretty tough.
I'm in that medium point where it's either all arms or all legs.
Yep. All right, it is another day in the shop. Our goal today is get this boom working and the winches working off of a jump box. So that's what we're gonna do today. So we've got the winch mounted up there. It's all good. The fuel tank's all completely mounted. So now the first thing we need to do is modify these brackets. Skeeter's gonna cut one out. I'm gonna cut the other out. We're gonna get after it.
Or anything.
So you're saying they're working?
Huh?
Exactly. I just don't wear hearing protection because when I retire, I just don't want to listen to anybody anymore.
You're just gonna be sitting there. Will somebody answer that dang phone? What is that ringing? That look better?
Yeah.
Just grab all the remotes and just start pushing buttons. We've got 7 winch controllers to sift through.
This is funny.
Nope, not it.
All right, we're gonna get this figured out. I knew this day was coming.
Yeah, here's number 5.
Okay.
You're on.
Oh, we found it! Woo! We did it. So Lizzie, we're gonna wind this up. All right, stop. We're gonna see if this is gonna work, Ed. This is our first time testing to see if this is gonna work. Run it out, Trevor. All right, stop. This is not the finished, like the rope routing's right, but these bolts are definitely not properly installed. So it's not gonna matter. We're not picking anything up with it today except for Trevor and Lizzie and Skeeter. This is the moment. This is my moment of triumph. Does this work?
Here we go.
Hot dog? Hot diggity dog.
Yes!
Go for it.
Matt got a raise.
They want to take a ride.
One arm it and be awesome.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, she's showing off. She's showing off.
Oh, we got to spool those other ones up. I ordered those machined tight. If we need to put some heat shrink on that at a later date, we can.
Cowgirls with knives. That's 2 dangerous things together.
Lizzie's never.
We need to read that sign a lot more.
Caution.
Okay, Trevor, your next task is to simply hook up this next winch.
Never mind.
Okay.
It's like a
Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop. Today we're going to be working on the axles and welding some more brackets. We're going to be kind of taking it apart right now so that we can do that stuff.
This is a whole different view from under here.
All right, so while Skeeter's outside grinding those axles off, Lizzie's gonna be in here finishing welding up these brackets, the lower link brackets. All this oil is transmission oil. Every time we pick this up, it pours out of the back of that transmission, so we should probably get that fixed.
It's a rust preventive coating.
Yeah. All right, see if you can weld these starting at the back. Come up like an inch on each side and then stop.
Peter, what did you do?
Made some giant jewelry.
Yeah, you did. Look at those.
Lizzie will have those link brackets welded up here in a little bit, and then when they cool off, we can put these
So
back
it kind
on.
of looks like a boat. Did you notice? With no axles underneath it. Remember, was it the show Viper? Or was it Knight Rider, where it like pops off, the wheels come up, and then it can go on the water?
I know Knight Rider could drive on water, but I don't think they spent a lot of time on the visuals of that.
It just went anyway.
Yeah. Tell us, was it Viper that Skeeter's talking about with the boat?
Yeah, because the Viper car would like turn into a monster truck. It would go into a really fast car and did all sorts of stuff.
So since I'm in a big fight with Rory Irish and Trell Mater, I had to have my own welder. This is Greg and Aaron from Premier Power Welder. And look at this, powder coated yellow, just for me. This is going on the heavy wrecker. Speedy delivery. It is another day of working on the wrecker, and it's welding again today. We're gonna be welding on the hitch first off, and then we're gonna weld some other things. You're gonna have to find out what those are, because I don't even know what they are yet. Before we put the axles back in, I wanna get all the welding that is gonna be easier to do right now.
We got 3 hitches, Matt.
3.
Yep.
Well, technically 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I count the winch as a hitch.
Oh, 6.
So this one we're going to be putting right here just for more strength. Then we'll hook it in right here. And we'll do the same thing on this side. It'll all be tied together and very, very strong.
Why are you putting 3 hitches on the back of this?
Because you got the main one, right, for the hardest pulling. And then you've got other ones for like
Other reasons.
Your wheel lift thing, you know?
Okay, they're going to get after it. All right, so we need a fairly simple, elegant way to get the cab off of this. Fairly easy. So Skeeter, show us what's going on here.
We make little mini receivers right here on our little cab corners. And then we just come in here with the lift. Whoop.
So we got 2 on the front, 2 on the back.
And our wiring is super simple to disconnect and everything else also. So it'll be pretty fast operation.
I hope so. All right, Lizzie, what's next? Let's see what you've done here.
I got this hitch receiver welded all the way on, and now it's time for the other one.
Well, this is amazing, Lizzie. That worked. I think this is going to be more than adequate. Good job. So Johnny Boy is here all the way from Twilla. So are you going to help us work on this today?
Sure. I'm here to help. Just like the government. Here to help.
People really like how the MORR sounds, so I'm going to be putting the same mufflers on this. They're Flowmaster's Laminar Flow series. So this is what the MORR sounds like. Sounds exactly like that. People love it. Did you just snort?
Yeah, this is funny.
All the work that can be done that we've thought of has been done. So we're going to put the axles underneath there. Okay. Yeah, Trevor will have to paint them. So, Johnny Boy just came up with a brilliant plan. And that is, since the frame is square, but we can't use the front because it's just not in the right place, we can measure off from the front, make a mark back here, and then measure off of that mark. Brilliant!
That's what we're gonna do.
Okay, don't go doing this suburban style. Like, this needs to be nice.
What are you saying about the Suburban?
So I'd go back as far as you can, I guess.
70 and a half.
How close are those plates to each other?
About an inch.
That's not too bad.
Were they eyeballed?
Yeah.
And here you were saying not to do it Suburban style.
Well, I wanted to drive down the road straight. I don't care if it's crooked, I just want it to drive straight. For 51 1/4 exactly. Ooh, we're not square. So we are at 52 1/8. This is going to be the most boring thing you've ever seen, because getting these 4 links lined up is just this terrible, long, frustrating, exasperating thing. We're going to time lapse this to spare you the gory details. Check this one final time. Hey, you got to go under. One final time. 155 5/8. 155 3/8. That's close enough. No, I'm happy with that. All right, it is another day of working in the shop. Today, we're gonna get this engine running.
And today I'm eating a granola bar.
So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get these headers built so that the exhaust has somewhere to go rather than just like pop, pop, pop out of the block. This is some headers here. These are a block hugger style shorty header. These don't fit because of all this stuff that's in the way. So we're running it outside the frame here. We've got to get this modified to right here. And that is what we're doing. So I'm gonna say we need to cut about 2.5 inches off these pipes. Okay, we're not taking the rags out and we're not putting the gaskets on just yet because we don't need them for the next step, which is simply just fitting the exhaust. All right, that's it. That is how the exhaust gets out of here. We'll call that good for a second. These are working out so good, I'm sad they're temporary.
How's it going over here? Just putting the finishing touches on these fuel lines. This is the baby one and the daddy one. Nice.
That's good enough. All right, headers are on. So today is the day we are going to be starting motor in the wrecker. What tune did you put on this, by the way?
I just punched in some numbers and I hope it works.
All right. So what we've got to do, we've got to bypass the oil cooling system. That's easy to do. I talked to my buddy LT last night and he said, do this, do that, do that. Then we've got to loop a couple of lines, transmission lines, and probably like tie a rag around the power steering lines.
Yes.
Just containment. We're not going to try to stop it. We're going to contain it.
It's going to be a little bit of a messy process.
But anyway, that's what we're going to do.
There it is. Hopefully that's the right place to mount it.
We're really done welding on this tank, right? 'Cause I don't want to put gas in it. We're done.
That's not a bad way to fill up right there. Some gas tanks are like so hard to fill up with a gas can. Hard to hold them.
Doesn't seem to be leaking anywhere. That's good.
There you have it.
I think we're ready to crank this. So he's gonna crank it, it's not gonna start, and then we're gonna have to spend a couple of hours figuring out why, and then it'll start. Okay, let's figure out why there's no fuel.
So I found the problem. So I'm grounded to the motor and transmission. However, I do not have a ground going to the chassis where the fuel pump is grounded. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Contact.
I was sleeping. That sounded amazing. I'm a little shook. Shaking a little bit.
There goes my hearing.
It sounds like a derby motor.
Yeah, we're getting ready for derby.
You guys heard it here first. The world's largest off-road wrecker is alive. Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop on the heavy wrecker. We've got Lizzie and Trevor out grabbing parts right now. Tom's about to head in and do some drawing to get some
Stuff made by Flog?
Yep. Me and Skeeter are going to start getting this cab pulled because that is the next step, and we're just going to get after it. So the reason that we're pulling the cab is so that we can have access to the roll bar so we can finish welding it. We've got to pull the motor and the transmission. We got to get the transmission shipped off to Monster Transmissions. We got to get the motor mounts welded up, a bunch of stuff. You'll see. We've also got some stuff to do on the cab, air tanks, all that stuff.
Fancy.
All right, Skeeter, Lizzie, the next thing is to get this out of here. We'll use the off-road trailer to do that. And then we can get this in here to where we can start working on it. So the next thing we're gonna do is get these air tank mounts tacked in here. All right, so we got these tanks mounted. There's still a lot of work left to do to them, plumbing them up and plugging the holes and putting air fittings on them. But they are mounted and I think they're in the right spot. All right, so we're gonna get this motor pulled, we're gonna get the transmission disconnected, get it draining so we can ship it off in the morning. There's just little things we're just gonna keep working on this as I remember them, or think of them, or imagine them. Okay, you ready to pop this out of there?
Well, kind of. Yeah. You got him? Coming down?
Hey, come on down.
You got it? I survived.
Okay, just slide back slowly. Awesome. Okay, there she is. That's going to monster transmission. I think we're eventually going to be going to 3-inch exhaust, but for now we're doing 2.5-inch exhaust. It'll support 500 horsepower, theoretically. I know, don't get into a big fight with me about that, but theoretically, 500 horsepower. That motor is like 300, if that. These are some very cheap cherry bombs. I bought them in a pretty long length. We're gonna see how this goes. So now we're gonna fire it up and we're gonna get it warmed up to where it can go into closed loop mode. We got our temperature gun. We're gonna find out if these radiators are actually working. We've had a couple things happen here, some good, some bad. The bad one's really bad. So it wasn't hitting on all cylinders. We don't know why. We don't know whether it's fuel or spark. It needs new spark plugs, new spark plug wires, and we have a new set of injectors for it. We're gonna change all those things and see if it still has dead cylinders. It didn't before, so I'm very confident that will fix that. So we can see the dead cylinders really easy because the headers are exposed, and we got this infrared camera and we can look at them and you can see cool tubes, which means those cylinders aren't firing. So while we were talking about that, Tom was doing some computer hacking stuff and none of us were aware of it, and we disconnected the battery halfway through him downloading something. And now that's erased the memory from the computer and we can't talk to it with the laptop. So it looks like we've got to either send it off and get it reflashed or buy a new computer. But meanwhile, we're gonna continue to keep working so that when we do get that computer working again, everything else will be fixed. Everybody hang their head in sadness. We're gonna get new plugs, new plug wires, new injectors put in this, while Tom frantically tries to figure out how we're gonna get the brain to this beast back.
We need to do compressions.
ECU HW/FW.
Okay, clicked on that.
Upgrade ECU firmware.
Okay. Oh, we're moving.
Crisis averted?
Where we cross our fingers.
Yeah, right. Okay.
At this exact moment,
Yeah.
your ECU is functioning and your handheld is functioning and communicating to the ECU.
Woohoo!
Before you get off the phone with Tom, you need to give him your mailing address and your shirt size and we'll ship you a shirt.
Okay, I think we're good. We're connected, we're online. I can see that I've got my base tune in there. Yeah, it's gonna work.
I rescheduled the bunch so I can do it. It's in there.
Good job, Trevor. So this is kind of what it's like for us to fire up electronic engines with computers. I think it's pretty normal for everybody though.
It's running, that's a good start.
Yeah, we made some errors. Now we're fixing them, and that's what we're all about here at Matt's Off-Road Recovery. Fixing. No, making errors. I think we're firing on all of them now. long, hard day and a hard fought battle. So I called my buddy LT. He's my 8.1 guru. I said, hey, this thing is not running right. And I guess it was a resolution issue with the signal from the cam sensor and the crank sensor.
2 wires
had
and
to
the
reverse
sensor.
them. Yep.
Trevor got it straightened out. That's what I did.
It's acting like it's gonna work.
Yeah, you got a lot of cooling capacity and idle's stable and smooth.
Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop. We're working on the heavy wrecker and a bunch of other stuff. So Trevor's got this big bus bar here. This is the power distribution block to run all the winches, and actually basically everything's pulling off of here, isn't it? Like, we want to keep the connection to the batteries as simple as possible so that servicing those is going to be less difficult than the maximum, which is pretty close to the maximum. The batteries are going under here. They're not going to be fun to get to. Let me show you this tank vent. There's 2 vents on this tank. There's one on the left front and there's one on the right rear. So that means no matter which way this is setting, one of the vents will always be out of the liquid. They come up here, they tee together. This is the top of the tank. This is way higher. We shouldn't have any liquid ever get into this. But if we do, we have a game plan for that. So the vent comes up across here through this thing, goes into this thing, and this is sealed top and bottom. It comes up, and then this is the vent. If we ever get any liquid spill into here, we'll be able to fill this clear up to here with liquid before it splashes out of here, drips on the exhaust system, and the whole thing ignites in a big ball, a fiery ball of flame and explosions after explosion. It'd be like a Michael Bay movie. From day one, when we were talking about mounting the boom, we talked about having multiple points so that it was adjustable. Like, if it doesn't work here, it might work here. If it doesn't work here, it might work here. It's even possible that we could come down even lower. I snuck in last night and welded, kind of moved this. And then this morning I just barely welded these so they're hot. You can tell because I'm touching them. All right, there's been a lot of comments about the size of the pin I'm using. I'm using a 1-inch bolt. Right now I've got a grade 5 in here. So even with a grade 5, I'm gonna have over 80,000 pounds of shear per side. And we're gonna be lifting razors primarily with this, maybe Jeeps. It's not made for 1-ton trucks. It's not made for RVs. It's not made for any of that. It might do that, but that's not what we're making it for. We're making it primarily for razors as far as lifting, primarily for RVs and big trucks for like kinetic pulling.
If Skeeter's spine can lift a razor,
2 of these can. So we're gonna just start putting this together, and that's that. There's lots of ways to hang exhaust. This is how we're doing it. I've seen exhaust hung with baling wire with years and years of success. All right, that should clear. Okay, Trevor, we're about to listen to the exhaust. Very excited to open these boxes up. This is the transfer case from Midnight Metalworks, and this is the doubler from Off-Road Design. So we're gonna put these together and put them in there. It's gonna be awesome.
Shiny.
There it is. Okay, so this is a prototype unit that Midnight Metalworks is making. This is the first one. Now, they told Rory that they would give him the first one, and Rory called them and said, hey, send the first one to Matt, because my wrecker's already running. It was a really nice way of Rory to make me feel bad about my wrecker not running yet. So thanks, Rory. No, seriously, that's awesome. So this is not built yet. They still have parts they're making for this. So we're just gonna kind of be temporary slapping it together. And this one truly is temporary because it's not gonna work without the parts. Just gonna, okay. There. Well, that looks really good. I was kind of complaining about how things were going, but it's not bad. All right, so we got the transfer case in here. It's just mocked up so that we can check our driveline angles and figure that part out. We've also got to figure out the transmission mount. I'm gonna be moving it from this adapter to this adapter. It's back like 6 inches. I think it's gonna be stronger, and plus we got some interference problems. All right, we are back on the heavy wrecker today. Lizzie's gonna be in later today, but Trevor's already here. Trevor, tell them what we're working on today.
We're doing heat shield.
We're gonna do exactly the same thing we did on that side, but we're gonna do it faster because now we all know what it is. That's the plan.
Get them?
Got them.
That is a good looking seat. I guess the real question is, are these seats better than our current seating situation? So if those seats are an improvement over this, I would say that's a win. Would you look at that? These are a 4-point. How do I look?
Dashing.
Does this look like the top half of Lederhosen? So after looking through our paperwork and looking through boxes, I forgot to order the adjustable sliders. So we're not gonna be able to really mess with these seats right now. So we're gonna move on to the next thing. And that next thing is firewall. So the first thing we're gonna be doing in here is we're gonna be polishing up all this metal with this so that we can weld to it easily. So, started to build this. This will be the skeletal structure for the transmission tunnel, moving up to the firewall. This is our first piece. These are not going to be symmetrical. They're not going to be mirror images of each other. And I'm okay with that, and you should be too. All right, so this other side we don't really care about because we don't have to have any pedals. But on this side, the driver needs to be as comfortable as possible. We have a way of testing these things here. Yeah, I think we need to wrap around that.
You need more foot room?
Yeah, that is really too bad. I got a plan. Is this where we want it?
How's that?
I think we're gonna be okay.
Better? More foot room, but still not a ton of foot room, is it?
No, this is about how high I want to be. So I'll just be a gas and a brake right here. I think we just keep building it and then we work with what we got. All right, so I found some pieces of metal that we can make the pieces out of that we need. I got some cardboard. We've started already. There's the first piece tacked in.
It's looking amazing.
So you just lay it in there like that. If it fits, then you go copy it, make it out of metal. So now I gotta take this over to the world's worst brake, and I gotta break it. All right, look at this. looks so good. Good job, Tom. Okay, we're gonna check out legroom. That's been a big concern for a lot of people. It's honestly one of my concerns. I like having legroom. So let's look at it and see how it is.
I can tuck my feet up there.
It's just too low. Look how much room you have here.
Yeah. You can stretch out if you put them on.
Straight legs.
Yeah.
It's a little narrow down there. Not as bad as a Volkswagen Beetle.
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah. Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop on the heavy wrecker. Today, what do we got?
We're working on the steering column, putting in the orbital valve.
Yeah, that's what we're doing today.
Okay.
So, pause for dramatic effect. So the first thing that we've got here, we've got this steering column, and Tom's gonna weld this little doohickey on the end of this thingamajig. Then we're gonna stick it back in the column and use it for directional input. So while Tom's welding this part up, I'm gonna be cutting out some brackets to mount the orbital valve.
There, still sliding. Looks like it's gonna be just what we need.
So this bracket's gonna weld right there, and then we're gonna have either some supports to the frame or some big gussets, I don't know. Yet to be determined. You wanna tack that in a couple places? Okay, that's hot, really hot. Is that in there? Oh, look at all that room we've allowed ourselves. That gusset's gonna be hard to put in there. All right, look at this. What do you guys think? You think that's a cool steering wheel? I like it. So this has an orbital valve and it's full hydraulic steering, which means this wheel's gonna hunt. So I got this symmetrical wheel so that it
won't look off center all the time. Like, why are you turning left?
Yeah.
It has emerged. Oh, hey.
Well, I've seen worse.
No, that looks right on.
All right, so we got the steering column in place. We got a good idea of how we're gonna mount it. So I'm happy about that. We got the rest of the system figured out to the orbital valve. We're one joint away from being done. I want to do it differently. I don't want to weld to that.
But this is how it's gonna look. It's all in position. It's gonna work. We just need to replace the one U-joint, and this orbital valve should be ready to start putting all the hoses on.
All right, we have been working on the wrecker for about 6 months. We've got it this far along. I'm super excited to get it finished to do recoveries. Also, we've got the Tow Truck Olympics, so watch for that in the future. So there's a new development that I'm really excited about. Harbor Freight reached out to us, hey Peanut, and said that they have some booth space at SEMA and that they would like us to take the wrecker down there and park it there near the registration booth. Super excited about that. That means we've got to get some lipstick on this pig, and quick. So we're gonna be working on today. All right, I've made a mostly complete list right here of things that need to be done before we can take it to SEMA. We've got battery boxes to do. We got to mount the toolboxes. That one's easy. Steering column. I'm thinking, let's finish the steering column. Let's do this. Number one, steering column. I think I could just put that in there just like that. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put it in there just like that. Then we'll be able to fill that all with weld and it will all be good. So I don't have any formal training in fabrication. Everything is pretty much, I just look at something and see what I want and then I just make it. So there's probably better and there's definitely different ways to do what I'm doing, but I'm gonna show you how I do it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. So there's two purposes to what I'm doing here. One, I'm holding the steering column in place, so I've got to make a clamping system on this. We'll put a little piece of EPDM rubber in there and clamp that down. But the second thing that I'm doing is I'm sealing this hole in the firewall. I'm trying to accomplish both of those things, and I'm doing it the only way that I know how, and that's just to imagine something and then put it there. So this is gonna weld to the bottom of this. So maybe something like that. All right, so now I've got to take the whole steering column out, take it all apart, and then I've got to bomb all of those brackets in. That is where we want it. So now, if the rest of this fits, we have a winner. Let's come in here. Final assembly with all these pins. They'll all get red Loctite on them. They'll be inspected shortly after they fail. You don't want to mess around with steering. You want to do your steering. You want to pay attention when you're building steering and brake parts. Not going into gear on a trail, it's a pain. Engine not running, that's a pain. Not being able to stop or steer, that's a whole different level of pain. Somebody said this was a very dainty European wheel, and if I was a real man, I would have got a real American steering wheel with chain and barbed wire. But I'm feeling pretty good about this wheel. I think it matches this truck good. So let me show you what's not working here. So the rope angle, when this is up vertical, is coming across there. So I'm gonna trim this in here. We're gonna ruin our little Rango face by trimming this down like this. It's gonna look more like a praying mantis now. Claw hammer wins again. There's questions about how are you going to keep this from bouncing like this when you're going down the crazy trails. That one's pretty easy. When this is not in use, these are going to be connected to this. There'll be a soft shackle in there, and then these will be tightened up. And it'll just hold there. This isn't gonna be, I don't think I'm gonna have this resting on the winch. Maybe if it's empty I will, but if I'm loaded, I'm gonna have chains that go up there. There's gonna be kickers, you'll see that here probably in the next video. There's gonna be a kicker that goes from this point up to there for triangle strength that way. So it's starting to come along really good. Rory was talking about this. When he comes down really steep hills and it's got something on the boom, it has a tendency to pick the boom up and push it up over frontwards, which would be a disaster because the vehicle would crash into the back of this. It would break these winches off, whatever. So I'm gonna have to have some sort of a system that keeps that from happening, whether it's chains or strap or something. But we just got to figure that all out. This is a custom vehicle for custom applications that's going to need custom solutions to custom problems. Oh yeah.
These are sweet.
Look what we got. It is another day of working in the shop. We are working on the heavy wrecker today. Our shocks came in from Bilstein. I'm super excited about it. I ripped them out of the box. I went to put them on and realized I've made a massive calculation error. So let me show you what that is. I didn't make these towers tall enough. They're about 5 inches shorter than I need for the shocks. I don't know where the error came from. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that made it. I just don't know how I did. But that's what we're working on now. So this is what I'm planning on doing. I'm gonna cut the top out of this, lift it off. I'm gonna get 4 pieces made that look a lot like this little piece right here that'll fit on top. And we'll just extend this up, put a nice gusset there, do some pretty artwork so it looks like we planned on doing it the whole time. And that will solve the problem. All right, now we should probably cool off one of those. They're probably pretty hot. All right, I think that's pretty good there. Just got to get that completely square. So if this is my pattern, I'll just make all of them to this. Okay, Lizzie, reach in there. Weld that. All right, so Lizzie's got these all welded up, and we are gonna install the shocks now. SEMA permanent.
Kind of like semi-permanent.
All right, we got all the shocks on. They look really good. I'm very happy with how they look. Let's see if there's any difference in how bouncy this thing is. It's solidified up. Good morning. It is another day working in the shop. We're going to be working on the wrecker today. We're going to be installing these Adams drive shafts and doing a couple of other things. So the first thing we've got to do, we've got to get the hood off, the steering column disconnected, and the cab up in the air. All right, leave it right there. Let me show you what we got here. So Adams was here a couple days ago. They measured this all up, they engineered it, and then they sent them out like overnighted them to us. So big thanks to those guys. They got these out here. We're gonna be putting these on. I've been running Adams drive shafts on the Banana and the MORR for years. I haven't had any problems with them. So this is complete beef right here. So you'll notice this one's a smaller diameter, super thick wall tubing. Has to be small because it's in a tight space. This is the mid shaft and this is the front drive shaft. This is the back. There's a couple things we've got to do. We've always been planning on cutting the skid plate for clearance. We're gonna kind of see where that is. Lizzie, do you want to set the plasma cutter up? So what I'm doing here is I'm taking this piece of aluminum tubing and I'm just kind of putting it in the center of that flange and the center of this one and looking to see where there's going to be interference. And then I'm going to cut it out. Along with Adams overnighting his stuff so that we could get this ready for SEMA, Neil from Western Canadian Rockwell sent these adapters overnight, and that was awesome. Some really neat people in this off-road community. Okay, can you get me those bolts? Hey, Peanut. Hey, did you come for a love? We'll cuddle later. I said we'll cuddle later. All right, this will be SEMA tight. That's good enough for me. This is a tight fit. Okay. And we're back, just like I said. Guess what day it is? It's new hat day. This one's getting a little grimy. I stayed here last night and finished hooking up this carrier bearing, like mounting it. So there was no one here to film it. So you just have to believe me by looking at it. As we suspected, the starter's not gonna fit. There's an interference problem right here with the carrier bearing. It's just not gonna fit. I talked to my buddies over at Interwest and they said that they got one that this is clocked up higher and it worked perfectly. It's only hitting by like a 1/4 inch, so it's not gonna take much. We're gonna be picking that up later today. Next thing is to set the cab back down. Wish us luck. Nice and slow, just let her on down. You're doing great. I think this needs to come this way. Keep going. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's put everything up for a second. And let's do the next thing. What is the next thing?
We got these just tacked up yesterday. They are to go on the exhaust right before the mufflers. So I'm gonna finish welding these up and you're gonna work on the seats, right?
Speaking of the mufflers, so we get comments all the time about how good the MORR sounds and lots of questions. What mufflers are you running? Well, we're gonna be doing the exact same exhaust on the heavy record. Oh, let me tell you, it sounds just as good in real life as it does on the videos. There's no drone, there's There's no drumming or raspiness. It's just really like a really low tone, really mellow. And this is what we're using. These are Flowmaster. These are the HP2s. HP stands for Hush Power. Flowmaster calls these their laminar flow mufflers. I think that's a really fancy word to say a glass pack with some baffles in it. But they sound amazing. Would you like a demonstration?
You could be an opera singer with Holly.
Could I? Holly, could I be an opera singer?
No.
So the problem is, the way the exhaust pipe is, it's too close to the frame and too close to the skid plate just to slip these on. So Lizzie's gonna be building these, and these will just jog it out. So while she's doing that, we're gonna install this starter. It's much smaller. Man, that drive shaft is made. I'm changing the starter a little more. Okay. Are we ready to mount these seats? All right, jump into that seat and see how it feels.
Great.
All right, what's next?
Go ahead.
All right, it has been a crazy, long, hard week with stuff sprinkled in the middle of it. I don't really want to drag that thing up here. We got this new winch controller, like the guys at Harbor Freight built us this one-off stuff to run all the winches, and they built an auto home button right here. So we're gonna give it a try. We want it to come up to the shop. Auto home. I learned a little something at SEMA with the Tesla boring holes project and all that. EV. Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop, and we are back on the heavy wrecker. No more shenanigans, just working on the wrecker. Mark my word. What are we doing today?
We're cleaning all this mess up. We kind of got it good on the inside. Now we're working on the outside. So we're gonna trim off all the sharp edges, hammer things around, tighten it up, seal the holes.
We got some comments that if we don't finish the firewall, we're gonna get a lot of engine noise and heat inside the cab. I don't know if that's the case, but we're gonna finish the firewall anyway. We have a massive amount of holes. I've never seen this many holes.
Some of them were bolts, some of them were just holes.
We've got to get these all sealed off. We're abandoning this fresh air intake. We're gonna be getting our fresh air a different way. So Tom and I came in early today to get started on this so that you can see this get finished in a timely manner, which is what we're all looking for.
Let's get to work.
So while Tom's finishing doing what he's doing, I'm gonna run out and find some metal so we can start patching these holes. That's a good start. I like to use different thicknesses of metal because they all have different resonant frequencies, so it keeps the noise down inside the cab. I'm gonna build these pieces first. It's not gonna be easy. It's not even gonna be worth it, but it's what we're doing. This air leak is going straight into the cab unless we seal it here. Let's see how this looks. We'll tuck this up in there, and then we'll just put it where it goes and fill gaps. Okay, we'll tack it where it's touching. All right. That's what I call production. We got 2 welders just burning on the heavy wrecker. Finally. I'm forcing Tom to fabricate like me right now, and even though he's being very polite, he is not happy about it.
Inside, all kinds of alarms are going off.
So what I did there was I put a mark, and then I saw how far I needed to cut it off from this mark, and that's where I'm going to cut it. I got the brackets tacked in. Lizzie's got to weld them in. And then these go in here, and then you twist them to put some preload on them, and that gives you the triangulation for pulling off of the top of that. We'll show you how that goes in a minute. Okay, same thing. That looks good up there. So there's our triangulation. So no matter how hard we pull on that bar, it's gonna have to rip the shock towers off to bend the headache rack. How's your day going?
Good, good. The wind quit and now it's a nice day, but only got another hour of daylight. Running out of daylight every day.
All right, I think that looks cool. It finally looks like we're doing something.
We are.
Because we are, yeah. So we got that all sanded. We blow tacked and staticked it.
Blow tacked and static.
So we're gonna let this set for a minute, take a little break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna put on this. That's enough for today. We're gonna get back on it tomorrow. Good morning, it is a new day. I am out here in the shop. Came in a little bit early. Let me show you what we're working on today. This floor has some rust, it's pretty thin. Got some holes through it, rust all the way through. So we're gonna cut this out. We're gonna replace it with this piece of metal right here.
So we just finished up the inside of the cab. We filled a whole bunch of holes that were all over on the floor, and then we put in this big patch and did a bunch of plug welds.
So we got this all done, and now we're gonna let it dry, and I think we're gonna start working on the drivetrain, get that ready to drop in. So what we've got here is a monster transmission. It is a GM 4L85E, and it's built for 700 horsepower and like 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, which is bigger than what we're planning on putting in front of it.
Gold, of course.
Okay, Ed, you want to take this bolt out?
Ready?
Yep, slowly.
Gut in it.
Yeah, you'd have had to push the gas real hard. I don't know how we did that, but we did.
A little bit of luck.
Okay, spin it. Spin it.
Yeah,
Show 'em,
I've been waiting for this. Oh, they're not even moving.
Well,
make something happen. Try some shifting and see what it does.
So we're in neutral. Both of them are in neutral.
Okay. Go back. Front
That's
spinning.
that's front wheel drive, rear neutral.
Whoa.
That is 4-wheel drive, low range.
Okay. hop out into neutral. Now your four-wheel drive rear.
Now I'm front wheel drive to a rear wheel drive to high range.
Okay.
And now your four-wheel drive high range. It works.
Everything.
It works. So what we're working on is the bracket for the hydraulic ram to steer the wrecker. Okay, put a tack on that. All right, so that's how that's gonna fit. It's still too hot. I wanna let it cool down a little bit more. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, it looks like it's going together okay.
All right, so we've talked about this before, but what's happening here is this is the transfer case, and this is a gearbox in front of the transfer case that gives us more gear options, specifically low gear options. All right, we are ready to marry these two things together with this adapter. Tom got back from the store. He got the bolts we need. We're gonna put this together. This is ready to bolt to the engine, and then it'll be ready to set in.
Yeah, we should have it running.
Soon.
Driving
soon. So we're gonna leave this till tomorrow to bolt it up, set it in. We're gonna move to this. We're gonna see if we can get this to steer today with the ram.
All right. You got a plan for that?
I do. See if we can get this to turn under its own hydraulic power. Except for it's going to be pneumatic power.
All right, go back and forth. I want to see.
Okay. All right, so that sets it up so we can be on a double shear. The way I understand it though, we don't have this spacer. What I want to do is get all of the kingpins, all of the steering arms, the double shear, all that stuff. I want them completely done. This will kind of give you an idea. I think we might have already showed this, but we've done some machining. We want some precision here. The steering on this thing is gonna be no joke. Do you think we should make these steering arms out of metal or wood? Wood's lighter.
There it is.
Let's just wire wheel it.
I knew you were going to go for the wire wheel.
When you say Scotch Brite, I say wire wheel.
Scotch Brite.
Wire wheel.
Scotch Brite.
Wire wheel.
Yay, Scotch Brite!
Morning, Ed.
Morning, man.
Not a lot of talking going on in the shop today because we're thinking. Because neither of us know exactly what we're doing. Like, we know how to do stuff, like we know how to grind metal and drill metal and machine metal, but we don't know exactly how to do it because we never got any training in it. So while this might be really devastating to most of you to learn this about us, there is a bright spot here. You're not hearing this over the intercom in an airplane. This is your captain speaking. I've actually never done this before, but I understand Bernoulli's principle, so I think we're gonna be okay. Okay, fire us up.
Like that? Oh, it's gonna go.
Is it?
That's gonna go. It's already in.
Oh, it's gonna be a press fit.
So I've still got to make a shorter spacer than this version, and that's gonna press down into this right here. And then this spacer will press down into that. These will all bolt together. After these are welded in, there'll be a gap in between, and that's where the tie rod will fit in there, and we'll bolt it all down.
We could. All right, so there's a debate as to what gears are in this axle. They're either like a 560 something or a 660 something or 550 something. We're gonna find out Okay, so we're gonna do it by counting that while we spin these. 565. 5.65 gear ratio in here. All right, so we're gonna get the front wheels put on this, and then we're gonna go to the back and do the exact same thing.
Well, that was fun.
Okay, we're gonna get this transmission and transfer case unit bolted to the engine, and then we're gonna get this pushed out and we're gonna set it in. You guys ready to pick this up? That's okay, hold on.
There we go.
Oh.
All right, flex plate staying, torque converter's moving. I'm gonna go for it. Keep coming. Let's see if we can pry this in.
We're checking to make sure that all these ribs that we welded in here, these gussets, are clear of everything, which they are. Now we're gonna find out if the drive shaft fits. This is what I was worried about, getting this flange up over things, but we can do it. It did it. We got it. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to cut that off and redo it.
We might have to make it.
But that's why we're doing the test fit now. So what happened was when I drilled that hole, this whole pack was loose. That's why you saw us weld that retainer on, because this whole gear pack had slid back 5/8 of an inch, and that's what we measured these drive shafts off from. So we have a special surprise today. We got a special guest. We got Chad.
Dusty.
And Dusty. Yeah, so he's cutting all our wiring up, and then he's gonna glue it back together, or whatever you do with wiring.
Elmer's works the best. So.
I would have guessed that. I would have got that right. All right, this could be tacked in now. So the reason we pulled the engine out again is, one, so we could get this located properly. This is the carrier bearing for the front drive shaft. And the second purpose is we've got to cut a hole in here so that we can drain the oil out to do some basic maintenance.
Stop.
All right, so we have started the final assembly. The drivetrain is in. It shouldn't be coming out. We've got Chad here. We've got the wiring going on. We put the fuel tank back in, final assembly. We're starting to assemble all these panels and parts that hold the winch in. We're gonna put the boom on. We're gonna put the radiators in. We've got a lot to do today. We're racing the clock and Father Time. Does Father Time own the clock?
I don't know how that works.
All right, well, we're gonna get after it. Yes, you can. Here comes the boom.
Peanut is very excited about this wrecker getting finished. I think Peanut, more than anybody, wants to take this out.
That's true.
I get probably.
That's good. All right. Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop. Today we are going to be working on the wrecker. And when I say we, I mean these guys.
Hi.
We got the Chad Fab crew down here. They are busy making this right. Well,
They're crying. Crickets, yes.
that pause just made me nervous. All right, this is a familiar sight. Back at it. This is what I imagine Santa's workshop looks like. Just these cheerful, happy...
Is that a short joke?
No. It was a happy joke.
Oh, okay.
We finally got the construction out of the way, mostly. The lift is being put into service, finally. And Ed's apartment is moving along swiftly.
Okay, we're going to be putting the airbags on these. We got a couple of mounting holes that weren't part of the design, so we're drilling them in. We've got to lay this out and drill them in.
This is going to be going like this. Somewhere in here. It's going to go just like that.
This is pretty cool. These planetaries inside the axle are enormous, so we're going to show you what's in there.
Yeah, they shipped these axles are brand new. They shipped them dry. I don't know how old they are. A little bit of surface rust. Look at that. So this is what we have to make sure we put back in. If you don't put this in, these will self-destruct. This is like, that is the thing right there.
That socket has to fit right in here on this. Look at these gears.
Yeah. So this comes off right here. We'll just take one apart at a time so we can use the other as our assembly manual.
These are huge compared to a transmission. Next we have that washer. Looks like that'll come off.
That's a thrust surface. I bet you it's pressed into the end of that.
Yeah.
So all it has to come off is this. That's it.
Grab that. So we need to make that giant wrench. That socket.
Okay, so Western Canadian Rockwell sent us some of the parts. Two of the three parts.
I think they sent us all the parts and we lost one.
Oh, there's a chance we did. I wonder what happened to that.
It's not as big as I thought. We might have it too. It just has to fit over this.
Yeah.
That right there. It has to fit over that. So I was thinking it had to be this full diameter here. It doesn't.
It's got to be pretty long. Where's that measuring tape? Figure out how long it is. So if we had a 4.5 inch, it would be perfect. 4.5 inch length of pipe.
All right, we found that piece of square tube, chopped off a chunk the size we need, and we welded together this giant socket. Now we can go take that hub apart. Look at the size of that. That is huge. Okay, so we need to add a spacer ring. Let's see where that fits in. Let me grab it. So this spacer has to go between this and this. So I gotta undo all of these and then put that spacer behind it. I think we're gonna take this and we're gonna go up to fab rats and stick this in this lathe and turn it down like an inch.
Yeah, we got to take these off and get them turned down.
Who does that?
Paul. We'll take him out to Paul's and He's got a big lathe.
Yeah.
This is just temporarily put back together so it stays clean.
Yeah.
We don't lose any parts. All right, it's a working lunch because there's lots of work to be done. Lunch is just getting in the way. You guys might remember that Scott came down and helped haul with the FJ, all the hoses on that. Also the rat rod wrecker that they're working on. Oh, also Scott's a buddy from way back in the Derby days. We went at each other a couple times back in the day. Few times. Look at that.
Mount right there.
I've got to build a bracket to mount that reservoir. So just like usual, somebody's making more work for me. All right, we have got this mounted. We've got this tank under here mounted. And we did it with one less bolt than you might think it would take.
We only needed 7 for 8 holes.
All right, we're gonna get this filled up, tested, and tested. This is the crudest form of rear steering you can have. We're steering with jumper cables off the battery. But no one can say it doesn't work, because it does.
Show us what you can do, Matt.
We've got rear steer.
Show us the wiring. Is that what Chad Pat did?
Yeah. Thanks for the wiring job, Chad.
Left turn.
Yeah.
Right turn.
I'm just straightening it. All right, so the wrecker can steer under its own power now, on one end.
Hydraulically.
Hydraulically, not pneumatically. And Scott says we're super close to getting the front to where we can. There's 3 adapter fittings we need, and then we can start this thing up. So these guys have got our tranny cooler lines ran. Like I said, we have a fitting missing for that, and 2, I guess they're adapters. We've got adapters missing. Not a big deal. We'll get those adapters put in there and bolted up, and all the hydraulics done.
Yeah, we just got a couple male inverted on top of the tranny cooler, and then 1 power steering adapter. But be good to go.
Orbital valves, steering cylinders, front and rear, they're all done.
They're clean that looks. Just all tucked down in there.
Get Tom's bracket in there, it'll be golden.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks a ton, guys. We stayed up pretty late last night working on these shocks and getting them figured out how to remote mount these reservoirs. We've got that figured out. We're going to be moving ahead on that. We've got to get the calipers mounted. I've got one mocked up right here. Get these brakes figured out. Get the brake lines built. So now that we know where the calipers are going, we can figure that out. That's pretty simple. All the hydraulic hoses, that's awesome. Scott and his crew got those all put together. We're missing a couple fittings. Show you those. So we've got to get this adapter right here. We've got 2 adapters here for the transmission cooler. We've got to get those done. But, you know, we're making some progress. Master cylinder's mounted. We got that figured out. It's coming right along. Good morning. We are back in the shop. We are working on the wrecker again today. We've got plenty to do, and we're going to get after it. What are we doing today?
We're going to be working on the shock. We're going to turn this, it was piggyback. We're making, this one's already remoted. The other side will do the same thing.
With this hose. What's that right there?
I have no idea. It's welded though.
It's beautiful. Look at it.
It is beautiful.
So this is a pinion guard. Okay. So Neil from Western Canadian Rockwell sent that down and said, try these out. So we're gonna put them on there today.
piggybacked onto the shock, and we're gonna use the hose right over here to remove that reservoir and wrap it up behind the shock so it won't interfere when that tire articulates. It won't come up and hit it.
That's about the same as the last one, right?
It's still going.
It's similar to the last one.
A little more.
Why is everything so messy?
It's been a messy day.
Yeah, it has been. Oh yeah, it's going good.
It's moving.
It's going. All right, this is as much as we can get done until we get the brackets to mount these reservoirs. So we are gonna move on to the pinion. All right, we think we know what needs to be done here by just looking at the kit. We could research it online, but instead we're just gonna muddle through it. Today we're muddling.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna need these washers in there for spacers. So that everything's flat. They're not going to want to stay in there. We're going to make them stay in there with a little bit of silicone.
Look at this gun. It gives you an indicator of how my welding was going.
Yeah, it does. Looks good.
So,
okay, so we'll just
put
pop
those on.
Yeah, you just pop them in there like that.
And they'll just stay put.
They might.
I'm holding it with my head. Get that high one, and then it'll
hang.
Yeah, you can move.
I thought this was going to be easy. It's not. All right, I got 4 started now.
I don't think yet.
All right, we have finally got this on. We started this morning to get these on, and it's afternoon, and we finally got one of them on. So we're just going to snug this up. It's sitting nice and tight. And then we'll go move on to the back a little smarter than we started the front. We got a lot of questions about how these airbags are gonna, like if they're gonna limit the articulation, but they're just sitting in these bottom cups right here. So they're actually not attached. It's a floating system, if you will. So when you need them for compression, they're there, and then if the wheel needs to articulate and drop down, no, there's nothing stopping it from doing that.
So they can lift right out of that cup.
Yeah.
And that wheel droops, they'll just be hanging there.
Yeah. Once again, we keep saying this, we're not going to have tons of articulation back here. We're going to have a very heavy sway bar. You need the back of this axle to be planted to the frame when you're towing things out. So
we just went and picked up this from Flog. So I want to show you how it started. Matt made me this. We turned it into an AutoCAD file. Now it's this, matchy.
Same.
And now we're gonna go see if it fits.
All right.
Okay, here goes. Oh yeah.
Okay, let's see the clearance around the steering shaft. How's that looking? Oh, there's tons.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Just almost like we planned it.
Here's what's happening. I'm headed out to Paul's. Jamie and I are gonna head out there. I'm gonna take these rotors out to Paul's. We're gonna turn them down. We're gonna take a 1/2 inch off the outside.
Exactly 1 pi inches off the circumference.
All right, that is the last one. Bingo. Clean up on aisle 4.
I like how Matt's the one that makes the mess and he's just standing.
Hold up, we can fix this in editing. I'm gonna show you. All right, now that I've got that cleaned up, we're gonna go to making a little bit more mess, after which I will probably clean it up again. That'll definitely do it. You see in there? Now we just gotta drive home. I got him. What do you think of those?
They look a lot different.
They're smaller, but somehow not any lighter. This machine that we're building is rather complex, and it has a lot of systems that need to interface with other systems. So we've got to stop doing what we were doing because we were mounting these shock reservoirs. But now to see if we tack them in the right place, we need to articulate this thing and move it around and see how that shock moves. Which means we're moving on to other things right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift this up. I want this to have a rake to it, so it's gonna have an 1/8 inch of a rake. It's sitting downhill like this. Okay, so Tom, let me explain to you the physics of what's going on here. So we're gonna weld these on a little bit better. We'll leave a drain on the back, even though we're gonna cap the top to keep sand and mud out of it. Then this goes on and gets welded on level and then supported front and rear. So while Lizzie's welding these in place, we're gonna look at the limit straps and see what that's gonna look like.
Here we go.
These are just little babies.
I know, they're short, but they are stout. Check out, they're fat.
What's their rated at?
10,000
pounds.
per corner.
We might only need one limit strap.
I think you got some spare.
Let's do some math really quick. Here's a teeter-totter. This is the tire. This is what's supporting it. Okay? And then you have a strap from here to here. What's happening is the forces are down on this. The force is down on this, but the force is going this way and this way on this. And it's all of this. This is, so whatever this weighs, if this weighs 10,000 pounds, then this is holding 10,000 pounds, and this has got to be at least 5,000 pounds of tension on that. So I think one per corner.
Do one per corner, and if we break one, we put on two.
Okay, so that's our hip shooting math with a free, what's that called? Freeboard?
Free body diagram.
Free body diagram, a little bit of bad math, some tinking. That's what keeps this axle from drooping down and hanging on the shock and hanging on the drive shaft and falling out on the trail. Okay, so what we're doing is we're getting our maximum amount of droop before the drive shaft binds, and then we're going to calculate how far away we want to stay from that. So obviously bind is really bad, so we don't ever want to get there. So now this is maximum vertical droop. We can get more articulation droop, but we can't have the middle of this axle drop any lower than this. So we're gonna come down 1.5 inches from this point. What's stopping us from further droop is drive shaft angle. We've just got a short, stubby little drive shaft to get around the engine. It is what it is. So until we put a Tesla motor on this front axle, we're gonna be limited by the laws of physics that govern a drive shaft. But we're putting some bump stops in right here. Tom's gonna go cut those out. We're gonna weld them together and see if they fit.
So that just needs a place to bump.
That looks good.
That'll hold?
I think it will.
Everything looks good.
So look at this, I want to point something out. The wrecker is now hovering in the air on a Challenger lift. So we couldn't have done that with the other lift.
Let's drop it and see how much it crushes those bump stops.
Let's do it.
Going down?
Yeah.
Okay. These are a little far back.
What does that mean? Okay, that's good. How do the back ones look? Oh, they're squished.
We squished them? Oh man. What did we get? 1.5 inches?
Yeah, we've got 1.5 inches of clearance on that.
How much weight do you think those will ever see?
Well, by the time they get to that point, they've compressed the coil spring and whatever air we have.
And the shock's stopping it from moving fast.
Yeah.
So probably not a ton more than that.
We'd have to have a spring failure for that to happen. And coil springs just don't fail. So unsprung weight is just what it says. It's everything below the springs. Sprung weight is everything that the springs are suspending. In almost every like automotive genre, unsprung weight, they try to reduce it because the lighter it is, the faster the wheels will react. So in racing, desert racing, road racing, drifting, whatever, unsprung weight is really, really a bad thing. In the buggy rock crawler world, it is exactly opposite. Unsprung weight is good because that's as low as you can get the weight. And so when you're driving on like really steep things, we'll show the picture of the MORR. I'm going to show you the MORR driving through something. It looks like it's on its side. It is actually driving. It's driving. And that's because unsprung weight is high and the sprung weight is relatively low.
Oh, good. No crushing. Man, they really do deflect quite a bit.
Yeah. So that's full. This is full squish or full compression. So I am well aware that I don't need 16 inches of shock on this rig. There's some things that are limiting us, and number one is just the drive shaft angles. We've got these massive drive shafts that have to snake around the engine and get to the differential that's in the center. It is what it is. We've got more shock than we need, and I'm okay with that. There is a tuning feature here. We can add a center limit strap that keeps the drive shaft angles where they need to be, and then we can put longer limit straps on the outside to get more articulation. And as much as we can get is going to be dictated by how much room we can get here. So we're just going to see where it is, drive it around, see if we like it, see if we want more. If we want more, we'll tune and get as much as we can get or as much as we want. So I have these line locks. They're electric. They're 100% duty cycle. They're DOT approved. They're not made for like parking overnight, but they will lock the brakes. We're going to do front and rear. We're just looking to see how we're going to mount those. I think this one we're going to go right here, and I think we're going to weld a bracket that comes out to this one. We'll put it in the same place. We'll go hard line to here, and then flexible Teflon brake lines to everything else. We're going to see how that goes. I'm going to make my first part out of cardboard because that's how we do. I'm just welding to this bracket.
All right.
So let's rotate. The question is if we can make those hard lines work. All right, we've got that kind of tacked up in place right there. Tom's gonna weld it in. All right, so we've got lots of RAM to work with here. We've got more RAM than we need. So we're hitting the steering stop, before we run this in. So we've got to limit that because these rams, there's enough energy that even though the wheel hits the knuckle out here hits the steering stops, the ram can just keep going and the pressure is going to go somewhere. It won't end well for us. So we're going to build them out of this. So we're going to get some measurements here. We're going to write them down and then cut them to those measurements. So this is as far as the wheel will turn right here. I'll show you. That's the steering stop right there. That's how much RAM is left out over. So we're going to have to put something in between here that hits the end of the ram, and then we're gonna have to come over the other side and do it, and that'll be how we center the ram, and then how we do the alignment is gonna be out here. So that'll be a fixed quantity to steer it all the way the other way. Is that all the way? We are on the steering stop right here on this side. So that's a factory setting. Assuming that it's accurate, not going to check it. So I could make them both 2 3/16 and then adjust from there. That's what I'm gonna do. This is the way these go. Look at that. That is a precision piece.
Nice. So how do they fit on here?
Well, we're about to find out. Like that.
Okay. Does that still thread in nice? That is beautiful.
We have confidence in our measurement. So much confidence that we're going to put this together the first time with red Loctite. Because that's how we do here at Matt's Off-Road Recovery. We're gamblers.
That we are.
And if there's anything Kenny Rogers has taught me, it's that gamblers break even.
It's knowing what to throw away.
And knowing what to keep.
See, Lizzie knows.
She knows the secret.
Okay, we're going to start these zeroed out. We're going to be definitely towed in. And then we'll just go through that whole process again. Let's pin it. Pin it to win it.
Right here is where the steering stop is that we put in, and this is the ram, and you can see that it's hitting all the way around. So we cut it nice and square. Lizzie welded it up good.
And then there's the factory stop right there. We've got 1/100th of an inch of clearance on it. Perfect.
Do we? Just a tiny bit?
I can't even see it. I'm just assuming that there's some. Okay, let's go this other way. Okay, right there.
How's that one look?
Identical. We are at 77 1/8 on the nose. And this is 77 15/16. We're barely towed in. That's on a tire this big.
That's, yeah, a normal size tire, you'd have half that much toe.
Yeah.
So less than 1/8 of toe on a regular 30-inch-ish tire.
Okay, well, I get to write the specs on the wrecker. And I say that the toe in is 3/16 of an inch on the front and 0 on the rear.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right, now that we got the front done, everything's all tightened up, we're gonna go do the back. We have got the toe in set, and we've got the steering stop set, and everything is tightened up.
Okay, we are gonna play with that until the battery's dead and then move on to something else.
That's a good idea. Okay, let's put a shock in here.
All right. There we go. Oh, nice. Does not hit at all when you're flat.
When you're not articulated, it doesn't hit.
That's good.
Ooh, but it's close.
How far up are we gonna make it before we...
It's basically the touching. This lug would touch it.
If we flipped the shock around and kept it piggyback and just reworked the back of this, how much work is that? Is that a ton of work?
It's like 15 minutes with the plasma cutter. This is plenty strong. If
just leave the back open?
Yeah, just cut the back open. That's about how it will set at ride height. So last time, this was touching the reservoir. Now we've got a good 3.5, maybe 4 inches. That's a ride height. We're going to lose that when we articulate, but I'm very optimistic. That was a huge upgrade. If we can do the same thing up front, then we can piggyback the reservoirs again. I think we can do it. It's going to take significantly more work, which means cutting this cross member out redoing all this and then reconfiguring how this cross member is attached. But I think it's worth doing. I think that is the answer. All right, what I've decided to do today is we're just gonna finish the back 100% before we start tearing the front apart. I wanna make sure that it's absolutely gonna work and exactly how much we need to cut out. Then I can see if we can do it on the front. So we're gonna put the cab back on the chassis, and then we're gonna articulate this all the way left and all the way right and see what those shocks are doing.
You're stretching.
So it's not hitting, it's gonna work.
This is gonna work amazing.
Yeah.
This is a huge fix for a really bad problem.
I might not look very relieved, but I am crazy relieved here. All right, we got a lot done, I feel like. What did we get done? Let's see here. We've got our airbags in here. They're mounted with Loctite. We figured out how we're gonna solve all of the shock problems. We've got the wheels aligned, we've got the tie rods, everything's adjusted, tightened up.
Steering stops, left
steering
and right,
stops,
both
left and
ends,
right.
front and back.
Yeah.
Tom's cutting out some plates over here. What are you doing with these?
Well, I'm cutting them out to bend. Who are you, man?
It's not really him. I'm me.
What? You guys are messing with me.
Oh, we are
Things
children.
got weird.
All right, Lizzie's just gonna blow all the dust off this, and then we are going to final assemble the rear, everything. Okay, I'm gonna take some cardboard and make these shock pocket covers. I'm gonna make this for one side and see if it fits the other. So I like that. Okay, we're gonna see if we're good enough that one side fits both. Heck yeah, it does.
We're figuring out where each of these need to go. So I've got one that will go right here, one that will go in the middle of that seat. There'll be a piece that comes across. They'll all weld together, and then the seat belts will attach.
So one thing that I thought would be super cool is for the Retro to actually finish itself. So this is one of the ways it can do that. So this is going to be a permanent fixture on the truck, but it's removable out of the receiver.
So the wrecker is building itself. There were some comments about it's going to become self-aware, Skynet references, and yeah, it's happening.
It's happening.
It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm going to finish bolting this shock on. Yeah, we need to rotate this. Yeah, just pull that up in there. I'm going to cover the engine with a blanket because we're going to be doing a bunch of grinding, and we are hacking all of this out of here. This whole system is not going to work because we've got to put some holes in here.
You've really done it.
Yeah. Those are speed holes. The next step is going to be rebuilding. Cooling down a little bit. So we've got to get the radiators in so that we can relocate the core support. So, according to this just needs to be held up.
How much?
Not much.
It's set up down here. Let's just throw it in this bike.
Here the tow truck is just working on itself. Tow truck building itself.
Every day.
So we are leaving this unpainted, unfinished, and part of that reason is this is going to continue to evolve for a while. It's never going to be finished, so we always need to be able to weld to it and modify it and fix it, and we just don't have a rust problem, and I think it looks cool, And
it bothers people. So Matt likes that.
Oh yeah. Baby claw.
Baby claw. Oh, it worked.
It's straight, square, and level. Straight, plumb, and level and square. Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop. We are working on the heavy wrecker. We got Ed here. Ed.
Morning.
What in the world is going on out there?
Oh, a terrible wind. Could be up to 50 miles an hour. So
50-mile-an-hour winds.
yeah, that's what the name is.
Hurricane. We call it hurricane, though. What are you working on?
I'm doing some brake lines that come off of the master cylinder and go into these little brake lock things.
So you're bending up the...
Yeah, the short little lines that'll go right in there. Yep. This is exciting. You're not going to want to miss this.
It is 33 degrees outside, 30-mile-an-hour wind, and it feels like 15 degrees. If I were to walk out that door, I'd be in Arizona in 2 minutes.
Like a tumbleweed?
Yeah.
And it's time to test what we have been working on that we really care about. And that is the science of bump stops.
Bump stops? We're flexing this thing out and we're gonna see what happens.
Yep.
It's freezing cold and super windy outside, but we're so excited to go do this. We're gonna go do it right now.
We're gonna do it anyway. And look what I got on. Do you know why? Because it is frigid out there. It is crazy cold.
You want?
So we've got about 42 inches of flex. Let's go in out of the wind and we'll talk about what you're seeing here. Hey, look at these. That's what they're designed to do right there. All right, so back when it was flexed out, you could see how close the tire was to here. And we had about 1.5 inches from the tire.
Yeah.
So that means there's more flex left in there if we put longer limit straps on. So what we would do in that case is we would put a couple of limit straps right in the center to control maximum droop, like total droop, maximum vertical, same droop. And then we could have longer limit straps out there that would let us go all the way to here. We knew that we need to cut this out for the wheel when it turned. We've known that for a while. I'm hoping we can cut just this side of these louvers because those are cool. And then we'll move this handle back to right here, and the latch will still work. We'll make that functional. That's how we shut the hood. All right, we're back. It is a new day, and we are going to be working on the wrecker tow Rex.
Tow Rex?
Yeah, as a like a T-Rex, but the Rex would be W-R-E-C-K. Everything that we're going to be working on is going to be under the cab. So we're going to take the cab off for, for a lot of the time.
47th time.
It's got to be up there. Turn the sink on.
Fire!
Oh, the truck's on fire too. Get the...
It's out.
What's the damage up there?
Yeah. There'll be some cleanup.
Don't play with fire.
Howling and growling and sniffing the air.
Fire before it goes to flame.
Well, that's the difference between you and Smokey right there.
All right, the first fuel line in is put together there. We're gonna make a whole bunch more of these. They go together pretty smooth. We'll start plugging them in, stretching out the lines, seeing where we need to run it. Under the drive shaft or over?
Over.
Okay.
Okay, can you reach in there and get that?
See how far my handle fit under? Yeah, I got it.
Okay, gently.
Hang on, right there. Okay, tiniest bit. You're gonna be running on PB Blaster when you start up.
That's okay. Right, I came out here and Tom had these lines basically done. So I'm gonna look like the real star here and tighten up this last fitting. Okay.
You ready to fire it up now?
Oh, we've got to take this apart. We've got a modification here. So what's happening, this is the correct fitting, but it's too short. So it's hitting up here before it's hitting that inverted cone. Boom. Man, it is barely touching. So we're going to cut about 1/16 of an inch off of that. We're going to do it without getting metal in the cooler because we're going to use a strategy. So what I'm thinking is we're going to cut on one side while we put air in the other side like this. And that will keep the metal shavings from going inside like that.
Cut off your last thread.
Okay. Okay. Will you slather these up with anti-seize?
These bolts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Keyword slather. Say it with me. Slather. Fun to say it with me. Swather. Now I'm not too worried about these rusting in place, so why am I putting anti-seize in them? And the answer is, as a lubricant, as we take this in and out, as we're working on it, and in the future when we're maintaining it, I'm missing a couple of them. Anyway, this lubricates them so the threads don't wear out. All right, well, we're gonna say goodnight to this beast. We'll be back tomorrow, just working away on it. Told you we'd be right back.
There's something different about you today.
I took a shower. All right, so these are the 3 cables right here that control all of my low range options and my 4-wheel drive options, front, rear. So this transfer case is a twin stick, meaning I can just shift the front or the rear independently of each other, and then the doubler is just a low range. Approximately 2-to-1, 3-to-1, and 5-to-1. You got to figure out what gear that's in. Okay, there's one gear that way, one gear that way. So I think that's high range, low range. Okay, so that's as long as that needs to be right there. That's good to know.
Is there something different about you?
Haircut.
Oh.
Okay, that should just thread on there super nice, which it does. And we'll have, now if we had the lever on the other end of this, this would work. Yep. Not strong enough. I haven't the grip to shift it, but that's how it works. I've got the transfer case in neutral right now. I've got this, I believe, in high range. So the box that these are going into, like I said, I don't have the lever for that, so I don't want to build it. So that's kind of as far as we can go right now. I don't know if it's a good habit or a bad habit, but I don't torque anything down when you're doing this, because it's coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And if you torque it to spec every single time, it deforms just a little bit every time you do it. But you run the risk of thinking it's done and not checking them, and then you drive down the road with loose bolts, which I have done. Arc, low. One of the gears in between those 2 places.
And we're back.
That's right. We're going to be working on the heavy wrecker again today. I think we're going to try to get it started.
That's the end goal, and it's gonna be awesome. Are you sure there's nothing different about you?
Oh, I got a pedicure.
Oh, really? Okay.
All right, let's see here. All right, we were working on all this yesterday. Today we're gonna get these threaded up through the cab and see if this is even gonna work. The conflict that we're having is the cables and the drive shaft. There should be plenty of room there. I'm thinking with the flexibility of the cables and our ability to move them out of the way, we're just gonna have to find some retention system that makes sense. And that's what we're gonna be working on now. The way these cables need to be lined up is the transmission needs to be on that side. Which one's the transmission?
This one?
Okay, so it would go around behind all of those and be on the other side. Okay, the rest of those three need to all be exactly the same length. Okay, and that's plenty of length in here, more than we need. The transmission is probably about right. So I'm gonna climb under there and just kind of see what we need under there. See how. All right, you can see that these cables are contacting the drive shaft, which is obviously a no-go. I'm gonna need to get some kind of a hanger in here to hold these up here. That's not a problem. All right. This needs to be zip tied away from the headers. Oh, I got my collar up. Hey! Chad said that this will fire up. Now, since Chad said that, we had the batteries hooked up when we were moving some stuff under the dash, and we made sparks, we did. So if it won't start, we might have a fuse to chase down, but we won't know that. Okay, let's hook the batteries up. Open, how long do you want to open the garage door? Try to get this thing to idle.
Okay.
You need a muffler on.
There you go. One more time. Okay, try steering the wheel. And we didn't start that header on fire.
Man, it was like vibrating in the cab. It's probably a lot louder in there than out here.
Okay, we can literally drive this right now. We can't stop it, but we can drive it. We also can't reliably shift it. Good morning, it is another day of working on the wrecker. Tom is still out of town, he's gonna be back tomorrow. So I'm going to be working on the wrecker today. All right, so on the MORR, I came up with a brake pedal pivot system that is really robust. Come out here, I'll show you. So right here, you can see we've got 2 3/4 inch heim joints, the rod down. So We're looking at about 4 inches of difference from the plate to where it goes through. So that's what we'll do on this one. We'll do 4 inches. It seemed to work. So I'm going to do the same thing on the wrecker, but I'm going to build a heavy duty version of it. So these are going to be the joints that hold the brake pedal assembly. Very strong. In fact, this is the same size rod that's on the end of that. Rod end. So this is the collar that goes around this. This is what we're going to be welding the brake pedal onto, and I think the arm that pushes the actual. It might even be the same thing. The brake pedal might be both of those pieces. That would be great if it was. We'll weld a brake pedal onto this, and off of that brake pedal it'll go to the rod that goes into the brake booster, runs the master cylinder. So this is coming right along. And even though we don't have the bolts for it, I'm going to show you where this goes. So this comes right up in here. That goes right there. It's a pretty precision hole there. But we put a nut on the bottom, put it through, nut on the top, and then that's how it works. It's gonna be up there about like that. Oh, right here. Here's my preliminary drawing. I'm pretty sure that that's not the right profile. Man, it's gonna be close. That's awesome. Tom's back. He was gone for 2 days. Oh, Tom.
What?
I got something for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're doing the fronts too. That has a crazy deep rumble to it. Yeah. I wanted you to rev it, but you can't.
Alrighty, those should be on there nice and tight.
This became 2 of these. We're working on them. I'm gonna figure out the gas pedal cable, throttle cable. I'm gonna figure out where that's going through the firewall and why it's not gonna work. There it is. Nice. But let's run this and where it goes and just see how that looks. Yeah. Because then.
Oh yeah.
Here's the arm that pulls the cable. There's where the cable comes out. I think we nailed it. Okay, right there. Can you lock it?
It's locked.
Okay.
That's full throttle.
Okay, that's our setting then. How does that line up? Does it look good?
Beautiful. It lines up super good.
And it's solid, so no matter how fast I step on the gas, I'm not
gonna bend your bracket.
I'm not gonna bend it. All right, so there's the brake pedal. Show you what we're gonna do here. Go ahead and stick that through one of those. So that is how that goes. Yeah, that bolt is plenty long, but it'll work. All right. And then this goes right here. That slides onto there. That goes on right there. And then we're gonna get this all tacked together, then pull it apart. Lizzie's gonna weld it up. That'll work. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's hardening it right now.
It's almost like a...
You should see what me and Lizzie did over here.
Woo, look at that. A brake and a gas pedal. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you put all the little lines in it?
Lizzie did all that.
Made it fancy.
So we want the gas pedal to stop on the floor at the same time that this hits its stop. So we're gonna get that right now. Okay, try again, all the way to the floor. Off. Well, good thing we left ourselves some adjustment. Okay, all the way to the floor. We now have a working gas pedal.
Yeah!
All right, so this is the first rotor going on. We're in the process. Like, we've already converted it for the juice brakes. So we've converted from air brakes to juice. That meant we went from 17 inches down to 16, so we could use the Kodiak calipers. And then the Kodiak calipers are super wide, so the other part of that was this spacer had to go in there because there wasn't enough room between here and this flange here, the hub flange. And so now there is. Okay, let's finish putting this together.
One almost done. I don't hear any touching, but that is like...
That's precision work. I've got some grief for using a measuring tape on a lathe. All right, we got this all back together. It's ready for oil and brake pads. Okay, what do we got to do to drive this out of here? Just bleed the brakes?
Bleed the brakes.
Lizzie, start pumping. Slowly, nice and slowly. Okay, pump, pump, hold.
Yeah, these look all clamped down right here. You should have brakes.
Yeah, this is enough to drive it. Should we drive this thing? Stop. Okay, now this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna step on the gas and you're gonna turn the wheels the other way and we're gonna whip around so the nose goes that way.
Oh man!
This is awesome.
It's alive! Finally rolling under its own power, not electric.
Oh man!
That's cool.
I hope all the people that said they were gonna die before this was done haven't died yet. I really honestly hope you haven't. All right. I am stoked. If you can't see it on my face, it's because my beard is hiding it. Lizzie doesn't have a beard.
You can see it all right there.
All right here.
We have worked for almost a year on this. And
11 days. It will be a year since the first day we started working on this frame.
We need to have a birthday party.
Yeah.
We are. We're going to have one. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this journey. We're still on it. We just really appreciate all of you watching. And man, we just got more to do.
Yeah, we got tuning, lots of stuff to finish, tie up.
How does it sound? Does it sound okay?
It sounds like the MORR Bear. Yeah,
it
louder.
Honestly sounds
like
really close to the MORR Bear. That's it for today, but thanks for watching.
All right, for the record, I think this is a terrible idea, but I am giving in to peer pressure.